Welcome back to the channel, folks. Today I'm going to show you the reason why you may have to service your augers. I'll post a link to the video that we did last week on how to grease the augers, keeping them in the bucket and checking them without putting in the grease zerks or anything. You don't have to do that. So I'll put a link at the end of the video on that. If you found out that you took off your shear pins and your augers are not turning, they're practically welded on, you're going to have to remove these augers and service it. Another reason why is if you're breaking too many shear pins. Assuming that your augers are not hitting the ground and causing the breakage, there's a reason why you could be breaking shear pins. Another reason would be if you're taking out everything and you want to install an impeller kit, remove the impeller, you can check the side bearings, repack as necessary, and you can service your augers too. You can clean out these shafts. This is what you don't want to happen. You see, you're on this one, the shaft broke. The rest of it's in here. You see the holes, how they're egg-shaped? That's not good. They should be like this. If they're like this, maybe that's why your shear pins are breaking. They're banging back and forth. Now this one, this owner, he should have serviced these because this thing is locked on. It's locked onto the gear shaft. It's all rusty in there. So I'm going to show you that. Well, let me show you how to pull them out first so you can service them. First thing I do is I pull the impeller pin, the impeller shear pin. Then you want to remove your bolts on both sides. I did a little bit of pre-work to save time. Let me do the other side here. A lot of people were asking me to show specific steps, so I'm doing the whole thing. I've probably done this 100 times at least. You take out the big bolt on the end there. By the way, if you want to, you can always spray some penetrating oil or some lubricating with your straw in here to grease the augers. Okay, let me think. Okay, I did that. Now I can pull it out. Okay, so now they pull out. If I want to, I can pull this hardware bolt, which I've already done. Pull that out. Pull the impeller off. I can pull the bearings, your side bearings. Pull them out. Now you can service your bearings too. You see how this spins nice? There's no play on the race up and down, and it turns freely with your finger. That's probably a pretty good bearing. But if you want to, what I usually do is I take a pick and pull the seal off with a pick. Now you can look in here, see if there's any rust. There's some grease in here already, but you can put some new grease in here, repack them. You can take this side off too, repack this side. A lot of the times I don't see a reason to replace these, maybe on a very old machines. Oh, by the way, this whole procedure here is for the HS hydrostatic models. If you've got an older HS 50, 55, 70, or 80, unfortunately you have to remove the bucket to get the augers out. But this is for the later model hydrostatics. So you can check your bearings. Now once you've got them out, got your augers out, then you just pull them out. hopefully you can pull them out. Sometimes they need you need to spray some penetrating oil in here, let it sit for a couple hours or a couple days, and pull them out. Let me show you this auger here that I already finished. See, it had those egg-shaped holes, and I tack welded some washers on there. Or you can just weld up the hole, the bad part, and then use a drill to make sure that it's nice and round and that the shear pin will go in there. So this is just the old broken shaft that I use to check the holes. Or you just use your gearbox. So after you've cleaned out this, which I'll show you, you put this in here, excuse me, and you make sure that your holes line up. I learned the hard way, so you can't get your shear pins in here unless the holes are lined up. So you want to make sure that's done. I spray some oil in here, some lubricating fluid in here. You can use a wire brush like this, and push it in there and clean it out. Then put a rag in there and clean out all the dirt and rust or whatever. I use this. I do so many of these. I put this on my drill. I ream clean it, but you can use a brush, metal brush, and then push a rag in here with the stick or whatever and clean it all out. Now, when you got your another thing you can do is that if you have bent augers, you can bend them back. Let's see if this one, yeah, you see how this one is bent. I can bend these back. I put it in the vise, and I'll use well, you don't have to get 18-inch crescent wrenches like I do, but you can use locking pliers or some other tool, and then straighten out your bent augers or rakes or blades, as some people call them. I usually do this in frame. It's a lot easier to do it when the augers are inside the bucket. Okay, so I got this done. I fixed my holes, and now what I want to do here, I want to clean these up. They got rust on them. I'll put it in the vise. I already did these, but you put them in the vise, and you can use a wire wheel. Most people don't have all these tools, so you can use some steel wool. You just want to clean this up. Clean this one. Clean the other side. And then I put some anti-seize grease on here. I use, let me find that. I use copper. Thanks to a member on the Honda Snowblower enthusiast group. I used to use silver, but this is better. For me anyways, the copper anti-seize grease. And I'll put it on. You don't need a heck of a lot. You just put a little bit on it. I should have my gloves on. And then you spread it. You can spread it around a little bit. A little dab will do you, like it says in the commercial. You just spread it all around. Now this will keep your augers from practically cementing on the auger gearbox shaft like it did here. And the shear pins were worthless. You don't even need shear pins when they're welded on. But something got caught in these augers, maybe a rock, a big chunk of ice, or a piece of firewood, and something has to give. So this broke. A lot of times this will break. It will break right here. It's not cast iron, so it usually breaks right here. It takes an awful lot of force for that thing to break. Well, now that you've got your auger gearbox serviced, cleaned up. And you can also check your oil, put it on a level surface. You can do this, of course, when the augers are in the machine. So put it on a level surface. This is your drain fill plug. You want the oil right about to the bottom of the hole. If it's not, then you can pump in some 75, 90 weight oil. Okay, so you've done that. Now you can put it all back together. Now, people have asked me, which way do you put them? Did you put them on this way? No, no. You want the teeth. You want the teeth facing forward. People do this all the time. They'll put them on backwards. You want the teeth facing forward, and you want your blades facing outwards. You don't want them facing in. You want them facing out. So you'll know you have it right with the teeth are right here. These are the serrations that do the cutting. Okay. So you put these back together. You can put your shear pins. To save time, I'm not going to do it. You put your shear pins back in. All right. Put your bearing holders, your bearings back on the ends. And let me see, what else do I have to do? Oh, another thing is a good idea. If you're doing a lot of this work yourself, I highly recommend you get a magnetic tray so you won't lose your hardware. All right. So you want to put you can leave your impeller on, but I usually take it off because I want to service this. I want to clean out these shafts. And if I'm installing an impeller kit, you could put this in the vise and put your paddles on and just put the impeller back on first. And, you can always check the fit of your paddles. And that's what I do. It's easier for me than leave it in there. All right, you want to line up your wheel with the hole there. Let's see if I can get this. I usually use a mirror. Sometimes it's hard to line it up. So what I use is a stubby screwdriver to line up the hole first. I line up the hole on the back side, and then I put the impeller pin this is a step pin. So you want to put it in the big hole first. So you put that in like there, and then you put your nut. Put your nut back on. I'm taking this all the way apart again, so I'm not going to do it. All right, so now you got your impeller on. Now you can put your augers back in. You want to try to line up your hole. I'm going to show you a little trick. Another little trick that I learned the hard way. You want to line up your hole. It's a little bit tricky. See, it's not lined up, so I gotta try to get it lined up. I've done this 100 times and I never figured out a better way to do it. Let's turn the impeller a little bit. Okay, so I've lined up the hole. See, and what I'm doing is I'm leaving this small screwdriver to keep that hole lined up. Now I can put my screws back in, but I don't want to tighten them up. I'm just going to start them all. This is from experience, I've done everything the hard way, and then I learned these little tricks that help. For some reason, it's trying to line these up. Okay, I got this line up. So once you put your screws in there on the other side, then you can put your hardware bolt back between the auger gearbox and your impeller. And I do the same thing. I'll pull this out a little bit and I'll put it in from the back side. And then I'll use a little hammer to push it all the way through. So once you've got it all the way through, then you can put your nut back on. So once you've got this, you've got your impeller pin back in, you got your hardware bolt back in, you can tighten them up. You can put your shear pins back in anytime you want. And then you can button up this. You can tighten this all up. And you can tighten up your bolts. What I do is I hand tighten this up, and I want the space to be equal or all the way around before I tighten these bolts up. So I'll hold it I'll hold it in place so you get a nice space all the way around that's equal, and then tighten up your nuts on that side, and then you tighten up your bolts on the other side, and you're good to go. That's how you service the augers on a hydrostatic model Honda Snowblower. You should be good for years, and you won't have these kind of problems. You won't be breaking your gearbox or breaking a lot of shear pins and etc. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe if you think this video helped you. The whole idea behind these videos is to help you save money, especially in the wintertime when the shops are all backed up and you get some kind of problem in the snowstorm. All right, we'll see you next time.